Man, the Goblin Slayer really couldn't catch a break this time, could he? He really... My man tried everything to just try and have a nice chilled day, and he kept on bumping into everyone that he did not want to see that day. Poor guy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to ChrisIsTalkin. This is going to be a review for Goblin Slayer episode 5, and this was a more chilled episode. This wasn't one of those episodes where there was like a lot of crazy things happening, and if anything, where were the goblins this episode? I felt like I was looking for goblins as much as the Goblin Slayer was looking for goblins himself. You could see the distress on this guy's face when there is nothing happening for him. So much so that the story was pretty much following any random adventurer and just the fact that they survived. Like when this other adventurer, this other priestess, they turned up, I was thinking, fuck, I feel so sorry for them. How long are they going to survive? Is this going to just be another peak episode for them? Because, you know, after episode 1, I can't be trusting any other adventure. So much so that even in other series, when I see people now going on an adventure, I'm like, boy, just make sure you got your spells, just make sure you got yourself make sure you got your shit on lock, because if you ain't seen Goblin Slayer, just not the same for adventures anymore. It's just not the same. But all jokes aside, this episode was pretty cool because even though we never got goblins, we did get a bit more about the verse of Goblin Slayer and how much so this episode is like a D&D game or an RPG game, and the rules in this verse are pretty much the same, or come from the rules from those kind of like games and shows and stuff, or games and stories. And I say this because the story, as I just mentioned, was following mostly, one of the two plot lines was mostly the Goblin Slayer, and the other one was this other adventurer and this priestess. And this other adventurer, he basically lost his sword, which seemed like it had nothing to do with anything, but I feel like this is definitely going to come back into play later on. And the reason why I say that is because he lost his sword, and we see him go into a tunnel, as I was saying, and like he went with the priestess, and I honestly thought that it was a wrap for him. Weirdly enough, it wasn't a wrap for him, and it was just a way for the storytellers, for the writers, to let us know that this guy, even though he lost his sword, he couldn't just willy-nilly pick up. Willy-nilly, that's a phrase that we say in England, London. I don't know why. I just came up with that right now. But it is a true phrase. But he willy-nilly just wanted to just pick up any random other adventurer's sword. And yeah, he couldn't. The other adventurer, we haven't really got their names yet. And even when I do freaking Google searches of the Goblin Slayer characters, it literally just says Guild Girl, Goblin Slayer, Cowbell Girl, Priestess. I'm just like, alright, well, I'm going to guess everyone else isn't important because they just die quite quick. But, so yeah, so there's another adventurer, like, who seemed pretty strong. He's, I think he's in the same team as the pretty hot, the other, is it the magician, the one that gave Goblin Slayer the scroll with the crazy water attack. So he's in the same guild as her. And this random adventurer speaks to that, to the new adventurer. Fuck me, literally, they're just called adventurers, yeah. The rookie adventurer speaks to the knight in shining armor adventurer who's got a lot of personality and ask, look, can I loan your sword? Can I borrow your weapon? And this seems to be something that is normal in this world, and that's because we get to see other interactions with other characters in the story, and we get to see how do other people survive in this world if they don't have a sword or another weapon. Do they just buy another weapon? But no, you can't, because you need to have money. To have money, you need to do jobs. To do jobs, you need to be going around with, you need to have a weapon. So it's literally some weird back and forth where the only way you can do this is if you either have a loan for like a really weak weapon that somebody has spare of, or if you're strong enough, or if you're in the same ranking enough as somebody else to borrow their sword. So it's not just that easy, and I really like that. And I like the fact that his story got intertwined with the Goblin Slayer story, and he actually ended up speaking to Goblin Slayer and asking him, yo, what do you do when your weapon goes missing or just doesn't work anymore? And Goblin Slayer's like, look, you either A, you steal the other goblins' daggers, but the guy's like, I'm not talking about goblins, fam, chill. I'm literally just asking about any day-to-day genuine shit. And then the Goblin Slayer is like, look, you've got other weapons that can do the same kind of thing. Obviously, it'll take a bit more of an attack, but that can be more durable. And he talks about a club, like just basically just some really long fucking baseball bat rock looking kind of motherfucking thing. I have no other way to describe a fucking club, but it's a club, all right? God damn it. So he uses that to take out these giant scary looking rats and these weird like giant bugs, insects, which I'm just not cool with, so that would have just fucked me up anyway. So I like that part of the story to do for this random adventurer got us to have a bit more insight with how this universe works and how things aren't so easy and what they need to do to kind of level up. Talking about leveling up and to be Priestess, she levels up. She goes from 10th to 9th. What the hell does that mean? I have no idea. But she's got stronger, which means I'm going to guess that she got a couple more like kind of enchantments. Not enchantments, whatever they're fucking called. But she got more of those, so she can do more spells and stuff, which is pretty cool. Which means that she's getting stronger, so she's more of worth to the Goblin Slayer. The Goblin Slayer, we find out more that he was out for 3 or 4 days after the last week's episode. So when he got knocked the fuck out, straight smashed into the wall by that huge ogre, which was clearly like overpowered, way too powerful, way too OP. Goblin Slayer, he just needed a long ass rest. So he had like a 3 or 4 day sleep, no, 3 day sleep, kaput. But he should have been out for a lot longer. So everyone's like, oh shit, you're actually still on your feet. So after that little rest, my man's like, you know what, let me just help Cal go out with a couple of the errands. Keep it nice and chill, nice and easy. And he also checks around and he sees that no goblins were about during his absence or during his nice little nap. So that was pretty cool. And we see how everyone was kind of missing him. We see how people just like the priestess girl, she was gassed because she was like, oh my god, I leveled up and oh my god, Goblin Slayer. The guild chick, the one who gives out all the different quests and whatnot, she's all like, oh, Goblin Slayer. So she it's literally, I didn't realize how this guy, he has no personality but has more personality than most of the other characters there. So much so that the guild girl was like, I'm just interested in this motherfucker. But yeah, so he actually ends up having a bit more interaction with the guild girl this time, because she actually ends up asking him if he can be a, what is the freaking word? A surveyor. I think surveyor? Whatever. Surveyor for the promotional exam, which is where people level up from one ranking to another. And we get to see basically the guild girl basically do an exam for this random scout who basically, he came back from a mission, but for some reason he has a lot more weapons and armor on him. He looks kind of fleeky, even though he technically shouldn't, even though he's been doing the same jobs as other people in his ranking, but yet he's looking a bit more pristine, which I like that, which all kind of falls back into placement of different characters in the series, ranking, experience, strength. It's all very, very important, and it shows that this is very much like an RPG / Dungeons and Dragons. I haven't really played Dungeons and Dragons at all, but I am aware of some of the slight laws, and some of my friends have played it, and I did a little bit of research from last episode to this episode. So I'm just like, okay, cool, let me try and figure out what the fuck's going on. So overall, it's a pretty good episode. The best, most hype part of the episode was pretty much not even the adventurer going about his business. I'm just surprised that that guy survived, and his priestess chick, she survived as well. Thank God she survived. I was like, please, no more raping. Oh my God, please. But so they all survived, but the best part of this episode was when this, as I said, the scout who was looking to have a level up, he really was thinking of taking out a guild girl, and I'm guessing the Goblin Slayer conquers Haki or some shit, because he spooks the hell out of this scout, and this scout notices or realizes immediately that if he tries that shit is about to go left real quick. So yeah, so overall, he didn't get ranked up. Really simple episode, more of a slice of life kind of episode, which is still pretty cool anyway. But we did, as I mentioned earlier, did get more of the verse, the laws of their universe, and it ends with the dice roll, which is also making me think, all right, I know it was meant to be like symbolic, but it seems like they're trying to make it a bit more than symbolic, especially with the opening and with the end of this episode, that weird dice roll scene. I feel like they really want us to think about the whole gaming and, I don't know, aspect to this series. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this episode? Did you enjoy it as much as last week's episode? Are you guys more a fan of the dark, gruesome, edgy part sequences of the episode, or not episode, but of the series? Or do you like more world building, more characterization, all that kind of shit? Personally, I think it's all needed. There needs to be a balance, because if there's too much action and there's no I don't know, nothing to do with the world, no progression, no plot progression, like nothing at all. It can just be boring and tedious and repetitive, but that's my opinion. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you like Goblin Slayer, then I do weekly Goblin Slayer anime reviews, and possibly in the future, maybe reactions. I don't know, but I prefer doing reviews because I can just talk a bit more. But if you do like those, do subscribe, hit that notification button, and do return for weekly reviews as well as other manga anime content as well. That's about it, really. Anyways, Chris is talking. Have a great day. Peace.